Hi everyone, my name is Erin Elizabeth Warenberg. Thank you so much for choosing to be here with me today. This week on my vlog, my video blog, I am going to be talking about part 2 of a topic I talked about last week. Last week I spoke about, do affirmations even do anything, or do they even work? And that was part 1, and then this week is part 2. Last week, I'll put the link below so you can click on that in case you want to watch that video. I recommend it before you watch this one. Things will make a little more sense, I think. But in that video I talked a little bit about basically what is an affirmation. If you are familiar with affirmations, I went over the 3 tips of why, in my experience, affirmations don't work for people, or they feel like there's some disconnect for them. So I went over that in the first video. It's a good groundwork if it's your first time hearing about affirmations, or you've been doing them for a while, or you've heard of them but you haven't used them before. It's a good video to start with. So that was part 1. This week I'm going to be talking about part 2 of affirmations. And so just to recap, affirmations are a way that we can speak to ourselves and reprogram our unconscious brain, which then affects our conscious brain. And our unconscious brain usually gets programmed with painful lessons from childhood, lies about ourselves from the media, ways in which we are bad or wrong, which are all lies. You are a beautiful, amazing force of life. And so with affirmations we can reprogram that and retell our stories, so then we're more able to exist at a higher vibration and in a way that draws us to more positive, fulfilling, abundant experiences than kind of low vibrating, shameful, blameful, closed in experiences. So after you've mastered your affirmations, you've done a little work with part 1 video. Part 2 today I'm going to talk about is you need to really make sure that the actions you're taking are in alignment with your affirmations. So this was something when I first started doing affirmations, I was like, hey, I'm reading them, I don't know what's going on, like what's happening. So you can read affirmations all day long, but you can't affirm yourself into a new reality. You have to start taking actions to them. The reason why we do affirmations and why affirmations help you with action so much is because they kind of close the gap between your programming to help your brain and your body and your whole being understand, like, okay, I can start taking these actions because this is the new story I'm telling myself. So if one of your affirmations was, I am healthy, whole, and sound, for example, right? I don't recommend people just lay on the couch dumping a bag of potato chips on your face being like, I'm healthy, whole, and sound, everything's fine. Okay, because it's probably not, because you won't see, changes if it's something you want to work on is your body then, right? And so one thing you could do, make sure you're going for a walk, okay? So you can say, I'm healthy, whole, and sound. What does a healthy, whole, and sound person do? Maybe they go for a walk. Maybe I'll go for a walk today, okay? So it can help you kind of reprogram that, so then you'll start taking action towards those things so it's more fulfilling. Another example would be, I am in control of my finances. Okay, great affirmation. So then if you do that, but you're just swiping your credit card left and right, like, just buying stuff recklessly and not putting things into your checkbook to keep track of them, or just saying like, but then you're saying like, oh, I'll never have enough money, right? Then there's a disconnect there. So affirmations will only work to the extent that you begin to take action towards what you want, because you can think yourself into a new reality and a new you, but you have to be taking action that supports that. So if you find a gap between your affirmations and your actions, that's a really good thing to close, and a really good way that you might be missing a step in how you're using affirmations for your benefit. So again, affirmations are to help us calm down, reshift our energy, get us to what we want to do, but they can only be as successful as the action we take. And again, don't expect yourself to be able to just switch overnight the actions you're taking, and don't expect persistence is more important than perfection. So let's say I am healthy, whole, and sound is your affirmation, but one day you're just like, you know what, I cannot get my ass off the couch to go for a walk today. That's fine, okay? But just make sure you keep going and you keep at it. Even if, just make sure you're showing up, basically, for your affirmations. So just think of it as accountability to yourself in a no pressure, no shame way, but just like holding yourself accountable as a way to make sure your affirmations are working. So that's it. So affirmations, make sure you're doing them with actions together. Boom, unstoppable. Let me know in the comments below if this has ever worked for you. And if you want any other information about me, you can go to www.erin-elizabeth.com. Thank you so much for joining me, and I will see you next week. Bye.